Welcome to Potty Mouths. Today we're going to introduce you to something special and very close to our hearts. It's going to be an amazing segment that we're calling Retro Rewind, where we're going to be breaking down different categories and talking all about the 80s. Because there's nothing we like more than dwelling on the past. My past ass, 1982, Stephanie. With me is my poogie bitch, Bert.
What's up, 1984?
And my bestie, Brad.
1983.
Woo! 80s babies! We're not millennials!
Xennials. Xennials.
Yeah, we were Generation X and now we're Xennials.
I thought at one point we were millennials.
At one point
Yeah,
they
they're
tried
changing
to.
it again because we got
We got fucking pissed off.
No, not just that. It's just that we saw the development of the internet. What we're saying, millennials already had the internet.
Yeah, my
we
theory
saw it
is,
develop.
if you've lived any chunk of your life that you remember where there was no fucking internet, you're not a millennial.
Yeah, I agree with that.
TVs still had knobs.
Yeah.
Yeah, you still had like a newer console TV sitting on top of your broken console TV. You are not a fucking millennial.
Absolutely, we did that a bunch.
So we love talking about the 80s. And for our first Retro Rewind segment, we're going to talk about 80s movies. So I had to break this down into sections, detailed sections, because you got to be specific when it comes to movies, because we've all seen too fucking many. Each one of these is going to have a category and a subcategory, and we're going to go with our bests. Because if we talked about bests and worst, this would be a 3-hour fucking episode.
Easily.
Because I've got like 4 honorable mentions per fucking subcategory. So, getting into this because I'm super excited about this. Action movie. Brad. Best action, 1980 to 1989.
I went with Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark, 1984. I love Indiana Jones, so it's just easy for me. Easy pick right there.
Indiana Jones is amazing.
Yes.
It was definitely Indiana Jones was definitely the trilogy of the 80s.
Oh, absolutely.
All 3 of them.
Yep.
I mean, definitely the trilogy of the 80s.
And like, I know some people that will pick certain ones. Most everybody that doesn't have a favorite, and I say trilogy because the 4th one to me doesn't count. But everybody kind of agrees that it was the Temple of Doom that they didn't like that much. I get it. And to each their own. They were all 3 different.
It fell out with the other 2. Like the first one was the Lost Ark. Then the third one was the Last Crusade. Both dealing with the religious, biblical. And Temple of Doom did not fit that category.
It was a different religion, though.
But it wasn't the Christian religion. The other 2 focused on the Christian religion. So I can see where it kind of fell out of favor.
It was fantastic. What's your number 1 action?
My number 1 action, hard to go by what I could choose. But I decided to go with one that I watched a dozen times over one summer. That was Over the Top with Sylvester Stallone.
I was
the arm wrestling trucker who has to save his son Michael from his evil father-in-law.
Of all the action movies of the 80s, the fact that you picked Over the Top made me question who I was married to. It really did.
I watched it so many times. And it's like anytime I see it, if it's on like TV, it's like, hey, let's watch this.
It's not a bad movie, but it wasn't one, Brad.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
What?
I'll have to check it out for sure.
I mean,
It's good.
Is
it's
it on
definitely
Netflix
80s.
right now?
I don't think so. The one I showed you last night, interesting. We'll have to tell Brad about that. We'll talk about that at the end of this as an honorable mention. But
oh man,
yeah, I never even heard of it until I listened to that one podcast. So I have to give it up to this guy.
One of the reasons why we broke this down into so many subcategories is because 80s movies had fucking quirks, man. That typical 80s shit that you were just looking forward to. So, my 80s action movie is Die Hard. There was a ton. I struggled with this list more than any list I've ever struggled with.
I did too.
It was hard. I had to pick Die Hard.
Yeah,
though.
if there was 80s Christmas movies, Die Hard would have been my choice.
Okay, so it's still also an action movie.
At Christmas.
It's not just a Christmas movie.
It is too.
It's not
At
like
Christmas.
it's not like I picked a Christmas Story for my number 1 action.
That would be inappropriate. Fragile.
Easy, easy now, easy. It's my personal.
I am not saying
I had to put it in the list somewhere.
Like I said, if it was a choice of 80s Christmas movies, it would have been up there.
People would argue with you that.
Yeah, they'd be wrong.
Anybody have any honorable mentions of action movies that they're surprised nobody mentioned?
I would go with Terminator. I was debating between that and Indiana Jones, but I guess I could fall in sci-fi too.
So moving on to sci-fi then. What's your number one sci-fi?
Return of the Jedi, 1983.
Oh, man!
That started my obsession with Star Wars, and it's been downhill ever since.
Just for those of you that don't know, Brad is all Star Wars all the time.
I have tattoos. I have toys. I live it.
All
I love
the toys.
All the toys.
Every single time I'm shopping and I see something Star Wars, I think, I should get that for Brad. And then I'm like, he's probably already got it.
Already got it.
So then I'm like, never mind.
Yeah, Star Wars shopping's hard for me.
Yes, it definitely. It's a very short list of what you don't have.
This is true.
So I expected most of this list for you to be all about Star Wars. Bert, what was your 1980s sci-fi movie favorite?
Since I'm a Trekkie, Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan.
That is a good Star Trek movie. That is my favorite Star Trek movie for sure.
Yes.
It is a great Star Trek
Great.
movie.
I mean, great acting, great story, great effects. Better than Return of the Jedi.
So we got in our group Trekkies and Star Wars fans. We will be figuring out how to do a Star Trek versus Star Wars episode.
And you guys will lose.
No, I don't know. We're assembling an army.
Until Star Trek Discovery, we did not have space whales. So, just going to put that out there.
That is true.
We did not have space whales until Star Trek Discovery, and I'm pretty sure that's J.J. Abrams' fault somehow.
I liked the fucking space whales, okay? Anyway.
I married you?
Look, Spock cusses in that movie, alright? It was great. Anyway, my
Not
1980s...
that whales. Not those whales. Actual whales that live in space. Not the freaking humpback whales they save. I'm going to have to re-educate you. Go on.
My favorite sci-fi of the 1980s was Terminator. Again, I had to put it in somewhere.
Yeah.
And it was between Terminator and Die Hard for my action, and I'm like, I'm going to slip Terminator into sci-fi. But I had to put an honorable mention in there. It's not my number one specifically because of how high on a pedestal the first Terminator is for me, but have any of you seen My Science Project?
Absolutely.
I don't know if I have.
It's some high school kids. One of them needs a project for their science class, and they find some weird shit in a fucking, airplane graveyard.
Yep, it's an Air Force base where they retire the planes, and they find this weird device, and it happens to be alien, and it's a dimensional door creator or something.
Yeah, so when they turn it on, all these different dimensions come in,
I
and
think I have seen this.
and then,
It's
you
good.
see fucking the Tyrannosaurus
Yes,
and shit
yes.
from the future and
In the
shit
high
from
school,
the past
yep.
in the high school when it
Oh,
creates it. Yeah.
I love that. I forgot all about
It's
that.
a good fucking movie, and it's
Yeah.
one that whenever it came on, I'm like, God, they need to fucking put this movie on more. And I love that movie so much.
What was the name of it again?
My Science Project.
Yep.
Brad knows what he's doing when he's getting
I remember
home.
watching it really young, and then I remember when I started wanting to drive, the one kid had that car with a big giant blower on it. They had to hurry up and get to town, and he kicks that blower in, and it was like a whole sequence of the movie, and it was like, that's badass.
Where they had to beat the electricity
Yep.
coming at him and shit. It was
Yeah.
such a good movie. And there was some comedy in it, and it was pretty fucking funny, and it was just, I thought it was a great movie. Those of you that have seen My Science Project, you know what I'm talking about.
I'm surprised you didn't pick Aliens for sci-fi or action.
So, the reason why I didn't is because that's what everybody is expecting me to do.
Oh, okay.
Because if
She's not a conformer.
No.
She doesn't conform.
No, that and there's only so much I could say about it. And when we did the horror movie list, half my list was either about aliens, xenomorphs, or Sigourney Weaver. So I'm like, I need to break it up. So I took it out of the play for a little bit.
Okay, gotcha.
So, I mean, aliens will be a topic again. But I'm going to hold off on it now so I'm not a broken record. Because then people are like, this Stephanie bitch, she's one note. And I'm not one note.
She's the brown note.
You bitch. 1980s fantasy movies. Brad.
I went with The Beastmaster, 1982.
Nice.
I
So
got that down as my family movie because my family and I would watch that when we were kids because we liked the ferrets and everything.
Yeah.
So
the ferrets. For the longest time, I begged my parents every year to get me 2 fucking ferrets that I was going to name Kodo and Poto for that movie. And then I actually went to somebody's house who had ferrets as pets, and I'm like, no.
They're stinky animals.
They're stinky and they're escape artists.
Yeah.
And they get into vents and stuff, and I'm like, this is too... I still love them. They're fucking adorable. And I picture myself with like a horde of them all in little harnesses and leashes, and we're just walking everywhere. But also, too, probably not a practical pet for me because I'm fairly lazy. But yeah, Beastmaster made me want ferrets. Bert, what's your fantasy from the 80s?
Gonna have to go with the movie Lady Hawk. Rutger Hauer and Matthew Broderick. Can't remember the actress's name.
Really? It's Michelle Pfeiffer.
Is it Michelle Pfeiffer?
It's Michelle Pfeiffer.
Well, super young Michelle Pfeiffer. Yeah, I really enjoyed that movie. I haven't seen it recently, but when we were doing this list, I was like, yeah, I remember. It's really stood out.
Lady Hawk's legitimate.
What do you got, Stephanie?
I had 3. I had to narrow
It wasn't hard for her. She just wrote them all down.
Yeah, I didn't have to pick. I didn't have to, like, knuckle down and pick. My list kept growing, and then I couldn't decide, and I was like, I'll flip a coin, but no. So, the first one I wrote down was Legend.
Oh, yeah.
Tim Curry is the shit. And him as the darkness in that movie. It looked great. It sounded great. Tangerine Dream doing the fucking soundtrack on that movie. It was great. I thought it was a perfect fantasy movie. You had fucking fairies. You had sea witches. It was fantastic. But then I remembered the movie Willow.
Forgot all about that.
I was like, fuck! Now my favorite's Willow, but I'm like, I still really like Legend, and just Tim Curry keeps standing out in my mind. And then I was like, but wait, you love Big Trouble in Little China.
It's a great movie, too.
I know. So I wrote down all 3.
What about The Labyrinth?
I mean, The Labyrinth is good, but for me, honestly, it is a fantastic movie. But compared to those 3, and the fact that I couldn't narrow it down from those 3, it would probably end up in the 4th spot. Mm-hmm. But I already had trouble narrowing down this one. So I just went with Legend, Willow, and Big Trouble in Little China.
How would you rank them? 1 through 3.
Oh, man, if I fucking had to. Big Trouble, Willow, then Legend. If I absolutely had to, somebody's like, I'm going to fucking kill you if you don't rate these top to bottom. It would have to be Big Trouble and then Willow and then Legend if you made me, which hopefully you guys aren't going to make me.
We just did, and you did. So,
well,
okay.
At the time, it was really fucking hard, okay?
Okay, like totally.
Oh my god. Anyway.
What's next?
Romance. I almost didn't put this in because I don't watch a lot of romance movies.
This was hard.
I don't do chick flicks, but there was one particular in my mind that was standing out, so I went with The Princess Bride. And I wouldn't have even put this category in here if it hadn't have been for that movie. So I'm sorry, guys, that I threw in romance in there, but I wanted to mention The Princess Bride because it is a fucking solid movie.
So I'd never seen it until I watched it with you.
Which I couldn't believe.
I
still haven't seen it.
It is a constant reference at my work, like the Rats of Unusual.
The Rats of Unusual Size.
Yeah, My
or
boss.
TUS's.
Yeah, my boss like watches it every year before him and his buddy go deer hunting. It's just a tradition for them. It's always a joke. It's always a joke, and I didn't get it until I watched it with her one day. I'm like, okay, I get the joke. This movie's okay, but is it America's version of trying to be Monty Python? I mean, that's what I get out of it.
It's so good.
I'll give you. It's all right.
And I like Monty Python, but
yeah, I get it. I get it.
You know, it was just a great movie. I thought personally.
I get it. So, Brad,
you need to get on that.
I went with Romancing the Stone. I loved that when I was a kid. I don't know how many times I watched it.
They're both the solid movies. Mm-hmm. Romancing the Stone, and what was the other one? Jewel of the Nile. Yeah, they were both good movies. I liked them both. There's nothing wrong with that being in there.
See, all this does is bring up my childhood in the early 90s, because this is what, like, the Channel 64 used to play every Saturday.
Star 64.
Star 64. It would change. It'd play Romancing the Stone, Jewel of the Nile, Lady Hawk. These are the movies that get played, like, every Saturday, so...
Yeah,
but they were money makers in the 80s. So
they're money makers now.
Oh yeah,
somebody's
they're still
like, oh, we're gonna throw that. Like, we have a drive-in somewhat close to where we live. If somebody was gonna be like, oh this month in the summer, we're gonna do all 80s weekends at the drive-in, I would pay money to see these fucking movies again.
It would be cool seeing them at the drive-in,
right?
It would be cool.
I would definitely do that. And then when I saw that there was somewhere where they set up a drive-in, like at a lake or whatever, and there were people floating around in the lake in inner tubes watching Jaws.
I'd be cool.
Pay fucking double for that.
That'd be sweet.
Just saying. They're big money makers then. They were big money makers now. when I look at like cool t-shirts and stuff, I don't buy like the modern day t-shirts. I buy fucking 80s movies referenced t-shirts. It's just, it is what it is. I like to dwell in the past. The 80s was far superior. So we're done with romance. Oh, you didn't do your romance?
No.
Oh, what's your romance?
Skip me like you always do. My romance, you'll see a theme here with a couple of my movies, was a movie Splash with Tom Hanks, The Mermaid. Just that was a cute, simple little movie. Another Channel 64. About every 5th Saturday it played. So, just that was a cute little romance movie.
Again, what was there? Moonstruck and all those. I didn't watch a whole, I still don't. Like, my sister's always trying to get me to watch all these lady movies. And I don't have some of them I end up liking. But for the most part, they really don't interest me that much. Like, I can think of one that would kind of be a chick flick, but not even really. Did you guys ever watch High Spirits?
I can't recall
It has Steve Guttenberg in it.
Nope.
And he's basically dating a ghost.
Now that rings a bell.
It had Liam Neeson in it as well. And Daryl Hannah. Yeah. That one and The Princess Bride were kind of the only ones I've ever seen. I don't even think I've seen Splash start to finish.
I've only seen the edited for time on TV version.
Well, I mean... No,
but you just made me think of another one to add to my other drama. So, all right, let's go on to the next one.
Oh, well, drama then of the 1980s. Drama movies. Spurt.
So, I had one, but I just wrote down a second one. So, like I said, there's a bit of a theme. The Burbs with Tom Hanks.
Of course.
I felt like it, I mean, it can go comedy, it can go horror, but all in all, it's kind of a drama type thing, you know? I mean, don't know the neighbors.
It is pretty dramatic.
I mean, I really enjoyed it. And then the other one I added, because you mentioned Liam Neeson, I forgot all about him being in the 80s. But with Patrick Swayze, the movie Next of Kin. One of my all-time favorite movies, Next of Kin. Cop in Chicago who's trying to defend his brother his little brother got killed. Yeah, absolutely. It's a great drama.
Oh my God, who's all... it's Patrick Swayze,
Liam Neeson, Adam Baldwin. If you don't know who he is, he's the guy who played Jane in Firefly and a bunch of other movies. Ben Stiller's first acting role in a major motion picture. And I can't remember the dad's name in it, but he played Jakar in Babylon 5.
Who's Patrick Swayze's wife? She's big. Why can't I think of her name?
We don't know.
Hunt.
Helen Hunt?
No, is it her?
Look it up. I don't remember.
Why are you making
You're right.
this?
You're right. It is a big name. But big names before they were big. You know, I mean, Liam Neeson and Patrick Swayze were already kind of established by this time.
Oh, definitely.
But everybody else was like Ben Stiller. Oh, the other one, Bill Paxton. Bill Paxton's the little brother in it.
Yep.
So it was
the one that gets killed.
Yep. So it starts right out where Bill Paxton's career takes off because then he gets into Terminator and Aliens and all that. But yeah, I think you're right. I think it's Helen Hunt. I think it is Helen Hunt in that.
I'm pretty sure it's Helen Hunt.
Which is funny because Paul Reiser's in Aliens with Bill Paxton, so the whole Mad About You thing kind of happens before Mad About You.
See, I was right. It's Helen Hunt.
Nice.
So,
yeah, really good movie. Kind of blowing the Burbs out of the water now that I think about it. But the Burbs was good, too. I enjoyed it. They had one of the Coreys in it, Tom Hanks, a couple other actors you'll remember from some Saturday Night Live skits and everything else. So
I thought the Burbs was great.
I loved it.
I enjoyed it. It's another one that's on TV. Well, I gotta watch it.
Yeah, I watch it at least 2 or 3 times a year.
It's good. It's really good.
Brad, what's your drama?
I went with Big.
Tom Hanks again. He's a man of the 80s.
What's more sad, like, he makes this relationship with the chick, and then at the end, they can't be together because he wants to be a kid again. It's kind of sad.
It is pretty, that's a drama as hell.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to go with that on my romance, but I decided, it fit better with drama, so.
Nice.
Agreed. It's a great movie. It is definitely a great movie. And a lot of modern day references. Even people that have never seen that movie still, without knowing it, pick up references from some of these movies, including Big, like the whole the piano thing or what. I mean, they sell those, but they don't even remember where they came from.
Yep.
But
it was big in Big.
In Big. You and your dad jokes, I swear. So I wanted to embody probably the most drama I've ever seen in a drama film in the 80s. I went with The Outsiders. Yeah. Drama.
That's another movie with a bunch of people who are just getting the career started. They're all big names. Patrick Swayze, Charlie Sheen, Tom Cruise, Matt Dillon. somebody
Emilio
else.
Estevez.
Emilio Estevez.
The kid from the Karate Kid.
Kid from the Karate Kid.
Hold on. I'm going in there.
It's bad that we don't know that guy's
there
name.
was a Dylan.
Matt Dillon.
Matt Dillon.
There was another one. I can't remember, though.
Anyway.
But yeah, this is all before they were big. I mean, Patrick Swayze was kind of established, but not quite yet.
That's why he was the older brother.
I mean, it was a big deal.
But yeah, it was big names, big movie.
Well, it wasn't big names yet.
Drama.
They're getting ready to be big names.
The one with Pony Boy?
Yeah. Stay Golden, Pony Boy.
Yeah.
You read that in high school, didn't you?
I don't think I did.
See, we read it. Just in case you know, Brad and I went to the same fucking high school. We've known each other since we were freshmen. On the cover of our book of The Outsiders was the picture of the movie poster from the movie The Outsiders.
We talked about having to read it, but we never read it in school. We read a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, we read it and then we watched it, which that was always my favorite in English class when we got to read the book and then watch the movie.
Yeah.
We did the same thing with To Kill a Mockingbird and stuff like that.
Yeah, we had to read that. We didn't get to watch the movie. And then my senior year, we were supposed to read and watch Macbeth. We never did. But we did Romeo and Juliet and Caesar.
Wow.
We did Shakespeare stuff. It was mostly what our English class was
Well, we
focused on.
did too. Midsummer Night's Dream.
Nope, didn't cover it. It was too
To Kill
graphic.
a Mockingbird.
I said I had to read that.
We read A Wrinkle in Time.
I don't think I read that.
Damn it.
Where the Red Fern Grows.
Didn't read that one.
Of
Come
Mice
on.
and Men.
Little Women. Little Men.
The Boston Tea Party's in it, and Paul Revere's Ride.
Scarlet Letter.
Nope.
We had to read that one. That was terrible.
Oh, Jesus. And his hand gets hurt. Shit.
Hell's Angels by Hunter Thompson.
No. That would have been a great high school read.
Oh, it would have.
What am I thinking of?
I don't know. We'll come back to it. Let's go to
No,
family.
I'll remember it, and then I'll have to like.
Oh, we'll
We'll have
interrupt
to
as
talk
soon as you
about this
remember it.
6 episodes into it. I'll be like, remember that book I read in high school that I couldn't remember? It was this. And
That's fine.
Johnny Tremaine! Fuck! There it is.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
Nope. Don't remember that one.
Woohoo!
I've never even heard of it.
I don't even give a shit. I remembered it. I'm happy with my life. We can move on.
She made it up.
I did make it up. Anyway, family movies of the 1980s. Bert?
Like I said, I called mine out with Brad's fantasy movie Beastmaster. And the reason I call it a family movie is because when it was on VHS, that's one my dad would bring home. We would watch it together as a family. That was a family movie for us because my parents were really big into fantasy and Dungeons and Dragons stuff, and it kind of fit the bill. And
I wouldn't say family. It was usually my mom and I. My dad's kind of a tinkerer. He's always wandering around doing stuff. My brother and sister are like kind of a little younger than me. Like there's a 4-year gap between my sister and I and a 6-year gap between my brother and I. So they were always playing with toys. But my mom and I can't think of an 80s movie that I didn't watch with my mom. So that was definitely one of the ones that we watched was Beastmaster. She's actually the one that introduced me to the Alien movies. So, Brad, what's your 1980s family movie?
I went with E.T.
Yep,
it's a good one.
it's definitely a great one.
Good one. Really, really. Everybody, Reese's Pieces, Phone Home, Steven Spielberg. I mean, it was those references are today. I hear people saying that, and like, it's from, right? And they're like, it's from something? I'm like, it's from a movie. And they can't put together it's E.T., so.
That pisses me off. Also, too, when people are like, I know an insane amount of stupid knowledge. Did you know that Drew Barrymore was an E.T.? Yes, I fucking did. Who didn't? Have you even seen Firestarter? No, what's that? It's a Drew Barrymore movie!
Yep, she's a little kid. Yep.
I mean, she got it early. She got it really early.
Yeah, she did. All right, Steph, your family. Not your great husband, but your family movie.
My family movie of the 1980s. Short Circuit.
That was in my honorable mentions.
It's a solid fucking movie.
Absolutely.
For all ages. I love it as an adult. I loved it as a kid. I've gotten all my kids, like I have 16 of them. I've gotten both my kids to watch it. They both love it. And then, it's just every now and then you're like, I gotta watch Short Circuit. And then 10 seconds later you're like, I gotta watch Short Circuit too. But yeah, it's a great family movie. I absolutely love it. And for the longest time, my biggest insult when I was a kid, you guys will probably find this hilarious. Whenever, do you remember in our area, when you and your friends and your buddies or even somebody you didn't like was on the bus or whatever, and you were making fun of each other back and forth, we used to call it capping. we were capping on each other. And my
It was checking when I was...
See, it's different for everybody, but for me, when I was in, the late 80s, early 90s, we were capping on each other.
Early 90s, it was checking. You just checked me.
My biggest one, and the reason why I always sucked at this was because nobody really got my movie references. But I would always say, hey, Laser Lips, your mama was a snowblower. From fucking Short Circuit. Didn't make any damn sense as an insult, but I used it as like my big blow showdown when we were capping on each other, and everybody was just so confused. The fight usually stopped. But I thought that was the coolest shit I'd ever heard in my life.
Just picture that today, though. If somebody was to say that. Somebody was like, "Won't give it down my iPhone." That's from Short Circuit, really?
But they would be so confused.
Yeah, but now they would just look it up on their phone. So
I mean, yeah, or not care, or hopefully they would get the reference. Because that whole sequence where Johnny Five gets those other fucking robots and he reprograms them all, and the whole fight scene or whatever, it's a great scene from a great family movie.
Agreed. Totally agree.
My honorable mention in that category was 3 Men and a Baby.
Another good movie. Another good movie.
Was.
You all heard about the rumor about the creepy kid in the background in that one scene, right?
Mm-mm.
So
yeah.
There's a scene where Ted Danson's like walking around, and if you look in the background, it looks like a kid's like pointing.
Like behind the curtains, and he's wearing like a derby hat, kind of old-timey looking.
Well, if
Goosebumps.
Well, it's been debunked because I watched the video and this guy like broke it down. And if you look at the scene before that, it's a cardboard cutout with Ted Danson because he's an actor and he's got his top hat on and everything else. And the guy like imposed on his computer and turned it in such a way where you would see it and matched it with the next scene and shows it's the same thing.
Oh,
But
really?
but if you didn't know that, you look at it, you just see this creepy kid in the background.
It did look like legitimately a creepy kid because when all these rumors came out, I popped in those VHSs and looked for them all. I looked for the person hanging in the background of Wizard of Oz. I looked for the word sex in Lion King.
It's
Did you
there.
find it?
Oh, yeah.
Is it really?
Oh, yeah.
What about the person hanging in Wizard of Oz? I've heard
I
of that.
never found it.
I saw it, but
Really?
I thought it was one of the birds because that's when the birds are in the forest and it looks like they're eating. We'll have to look it up.
I've seen
the creepiest
pictures
thing
of
I
it.
heard about Wizard of Oz though is if you start playing the movie and you play Pink Floyd's Hole in the Wall album,
Yeah.
they match like exactly.
That
I've
would
never
be
done it, but I heard they match exactly.
That would be cool to try out.
I mean, I don't know. As much as like Wizard of Oz is great, it's not. I really just don't care about the movie.
I like The Wiz better.
The Wiz was great. Fucking Michael Jackson and Diana Ross, bring it. The Wizard of, you need to watch it. You should watch it at least a couple of times in your lifetime. But when it comes to like those kind of movies, Mary Poppins, The Wizard of Oz can suck Mary Poppins' dick. Their Mary Poppins was a superior
Walt
fucking
Disney
movie.
appreciates that. Maybe in his frozen head that we talked about episodes ago.
Anyway, so Brad, what was your family movie?
You already did it. E.T.
Yeah.
E.T., yeah, okay.
We're done with family movies.
Sorry,
You
we're-
did yours. What was yours?
Short Circuit and 3 Men
Oh,
and
that's
a
right.
Baby.
Yeah, you finished it up. So
Okay, so-
now to comedy.
Comedy. You know what mine is. Spaceballs.
Oh, nice. Forgot all about that one, too. Goddamn.
It is. Now, all these movies are like, oh my god, she watches that like 3 times a year. I watch Spaceballs like once or twice a month.
My favorite part of that movie is when they're talking about how they could see what's going to happen later in the movie. They all had to do was get the VHS. And they're like, I just love that part.
When is this? This is now.
Now.
But when will now be then? Soon.
That's
It's
great.
such a perfect movie. And like, I know Bert here, he doesn't like the Seth MacFarlane style comedy where the longer something stretches out, it becomes awkward and then it becomes funny.
Like Lois hits her boob. She's like,
And then and it lasts too long.
Yeah.
Well, in the fucking, after the credits fucking roll, when that long ass ship just keeps stretching and stretching and stretching across the screen, the longer it takes to get to the bumper sticker on that fucking ship, the funnier it is to me. I just love, and the whole comb in the desert thing and the yogurt thing. It's just that it's such a good
Pizza
comedy.
the Hut.
Pizza the Hut. It is an amazing comedy to me.
it's pretty funny.
And I didn't even have an honorable mention in that category because of how much I fucking love Spaceballs.
Got a couple honorable mentions. So,
Well, what's your comedy then, Bert?
all right. Well, I'm going to do the honorable mentions first.
Oh, God.
The movie Overboard, Goldie Hawn, Kurt Russell. I thought that was a pretty cute, little funny movie. The Police Academy movies, mostly because Michael Wilson, he's the one that does the voice, the sound effects with his voice. Love that guy. My main movie I'm going to go with, and Stephanie questioned me because she never remembered it, and I only remember one scene from it, but it was just hysterical, was Eric the Viking. Came out in 89. It's a little comedy about Leif Erikson, the first European to travel to America. But the idea is he's doing it on a bet in the movie, if I remember correctly. And he's trying to prove that the world is not flat. And for our flat earthers that are out there,
Please message us.
Yes.
the funny thing is, they find the end of the world and they almost go off because it's a giant waterfall with demons and dragons and stuff. I just mentioned because I think that's so funny, especially in the times where people believe Earth is flat. I just thought it was appropriate to bring that up.
When you mentioned Eric the Viking, my mind automatically went to this comedian songwriter Ray Stevens. He did the song Eric the Awful. That's what I remember. I remember that. I don't know if that was based off that movie, but I had never heard of the movie Eric the Viking.
No, Leif Erikson was supposed to be the first European who made it to Nova Scotia.
And when you say
that.
Leif Erikson, all I think of that episode of fucking SpongeBob.
That was based off real history. But yeah, like I said, Police Academy movies are real high up there, mostly because of Michael Wilson and Hightower and the crazy white guy with the gun. Always about the guns. I can't remember that dude's name. Remember, like, the bigger the gun, the better it is for him.
See, whenever you see the crazy white guy about the guns, I automatically think of Arlie Emery.
No.
Wrong white guy, crazy about the guns.
Yeah, he wasn't that old, so...
Brad, what's your comedy of the 80s?
I had a tough one with this, so I just went with Ghostbusters. Cause
Good.
It's still a comedy.
Ghostbusters, yeah.
Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray, I mean, good stuff.
I mean, it's a funny fucking movie.
Rick Moranis, again.
Yeah. He's the funny man of the 80s for me.
He was good. I liked Rick Moranis. Little Shop of Horrors, I mean.
Yeah. And, like, when I read because you always wonder what happened to him. And then I read a story where he had a family and stuff. And I can't remember what happened to his wife, but she was out of the picture or something. I don't know.
She passed away.
She died of cancer or something.
Yeah, and he quit. I mean, he was fucking big. And then he quit for
Take care of his kids.
Yeah, that's fucking admiral as shit. If he wanted to come back, I'd be like, I fully fucking support you.
He's done some voice acting in some cartoons here recently, so maybe he might make a reappearance.
I don't know. Anyway, I thought that was adorable. I don't hate on him for leaving for his family.
No, absolutely. I mean, totally a good person there.
He just seems like a great dude. But yeah, let's move on to the moneymaker. Disney movie of the 1980s. Bert.
The Great Mouse Detective.
Love it.
Fievel?
The Great Mouse Detective.
Guess I haven't seen that one.
Oh man.
Where like the mouse is
It's
Sherlock Holmes
Disney style and
really Ratigan. Oh, dude.
It's Ratigan.
Well, whatever.
You said Ratigan.
I'm like 5 when you guys are looking at me like I'm fucking
No,
retarded.
Feifel Goes West is the shit. I know
that's
what you're
good,
talking
too.
about. I love cartoons just as much as I like regular movies.
I mean, yeah, there's a bunch of mouse movies now you think about it. Wasn't like The Rescuers, weren't they mice too?
The Rescuers and The Rescuers Down Under were mice.
Yeah, Bob Newhart. Bob Newhart was the voice of the male rescuer who was in love with the other girl.
And wasn't it Zsa Zsa? Yeah, Zsa Zsa Gabor was the voice of the lady. Oh my god, why am I blanking on her name from The Rescuers? It's a bad fucking night for me.
It is. But anyway, yeah, Great Mouse Detective. Sherlock Holmes is a mouse. Really neat. There's all Watson and everything else. And Ratigan. That was Ratigan.
Basically, Moriarty.
Yep, trying to displace the queen with a robot mouse queen.
Trying to kill the queen.
It's good stuff. Good stuff. Big Ben's in it. The big giant clock. So,
what was your Disney?
I went with Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
I mean,
that's
also an excellent movie.
Nice. I like it. You know, I enjoyed that movie, but I started watching the show Bonkers, the cartoon, around the time I watched that, and didn't realize until I was an adult how they're almost linked people and tunes in the same universe together.
Well, they did the same thing in Cool World.
Yes.
Whereas people running into... And I think that they were just trying to, honestly, like, show off. This is how well we can make animation look, where we put it right up against the real fucking thing. And
it was special effects show off.
But, I mean, it was a great fucking show off, though. I love the car.
Yeah.
The sassy ass car and Roger Rabbit and
I love
Who
Jessica
Framed Roger
Rabbit.
Rabbit.
Yeah, I was gonna say Mrs. Roger Rabbit.
Oh man, I was so into her when I was a kid.
I mean, boobs.
Yeah, and I love boobs.
And Christopher Lloyd is the bad guy. Just
Oh man, he's a great bad guy. It's weird to think, but he's a great bad guy.
name another movie he was a bad guy in. Come on, you can do it.
Can I?
Yeah, you can. You can.
Today, I can't even think of the freaking Lady Mouse's name and fucking.
It's the third movie. Star Trek: To Search for Spock. He's the Klingon captain. He's the one that destroys.
Oh yeah, he is.
Yeah, Christopher
Yeah, I would have never
Lloyd.
gotten there though. I would have never gotten there. But yeah, now I remember. Yeah. Anyway,
Great.
Disney's the shit. I hate to say it. As much as it is like a huge fucking monopoly and this big ass moneymaker, they fucking get me. I love Disney movies. I can't help it.
I mean,
Brad officially loves Disney movies now since they bought Star Wars.
I haven't been happy with all their Star Wars movies, but you know they've done great with Marvel. I think so.
Oh yeah.
Eventually, Brad will have Disney tattooed on his ass.
Get the Mickey Mouse silhouette.
Yeah.
No, I like the Disney word and then the castle.
Oh, you mean Disney's actual signature?
Yeah, the logo that pops up before the
Yep.
movie.
That was Walt's actual signature. He signed everything that way, and that became their logo.
Well, now I want that tattoo.
No. What's your Disney movie?
I already said mine. Oh, no, I didn't say mine.
You didn't!
Oh, my God. The Little Mermaid.
I was leaning towards that.
That was just a copy off of Splash. Move on.
Oh, my God. You can suck a dick. Dicks for fucking Bert tonight. Anyway, The Little Mermaid
no.
was great, and the music was fantastic, and you cannot show me one little fucking girl that after they watched that movie wasn't singing those fucking songs for weeks and months and fucking years.
I remember I got a Happy Meal, and I got the little blue and yellow fish. Flounder as my little toy, and it was a little squirt fish. You put it in the water and you squirt people with it.
So we had this VHS, and it was called the Sing Along Songs. Mm-hmm. And it was like the whole thing was just like you know the Disney bouncing head to teach you the words to songs and stuff. We had the one that was Under the Sea, and it had all these other like sea shanties and shit, like when Mickey did Steamboat Willie and stuff. But the bulk of that VHS was all the songs from The Little Mermaid, and I watched that fucker till it wouldn't rewind anymore when I was little. That was as girly as I got.
You know, I think
Disney.
it's probably worth hundreds of dollars now.
Well, I wore it the fuck out. If you're going to buy it, use it. I ain't about collecting shit. I know that, like, goes against everything Brad is.
Yeah, I'm a collector.
But
You buy two of everything, one to play with, one to keep.
I used to until, like, you know, I'm in the situation I'm in. So.
yeah, because his collection is so big. I really wish you would have kept track of how much we're talking $100,000 plus now in your collection.
I mean, I've been collecting since I was 12, so who the hell knows, really? I haven't sold anything in 23 years.
We're definitely triple digits, in my opinion.
Yeah, you got me beat when it comes to my Star Trek stuff because I don't have that much because I just recently started within the last decade. So,
What all have you been collecting?
so when the J.J. Abrams movies came out, Barbie, Mattel released a Barbie doll version of Kirk, Spock, and Uhura, and they were on sale at Walmart for like $90 a piece. I waited until they were discounted because there was only 3 left, and I got them for like $20 a piece.
Oh, right on.
They're in a tote. I have the Enterprise toy light-up model thing. It's in a box, never been opened. A couple of little action figures.
I bought him a phaser, and I buy him manuals.
Yeah, like the Haynes car repair manuals. They have those for like the Enterprise, Deep Space Nine.
Oh,
so I have those in my
Starfleet
collection.
officer manuals, stuff like that.
Yeah, I got that
That's
kind of
what
stuff.
I buy him.
So, and
Star
then
Wars copied off Star Trek and started making stuff like that, but Star Trek did it first.
Woo!
give
Yeah,
you
we're
guys
gonna
that.
put that
That's
down
right.
in our little list for our fucking battle. But besides Star Trek, where are we at?
you just got done doing
Yeah,
your Disney.
So the 1980s for me was like probably my favorite decade for fucking cop movies. So I put cop movies in as its own fucking category, and I still struggle.
There's so
To pick up.
many,
And there's so many that I love because they just did cop movies well in the 80s. So my cop movie of the 1980s is a toss-up. Lethal Weapon or Beverly Hills Cop. For me,
Both good movies.
personally. Because I love Lethal Weapon because it's so good, but I also love Beverly Hills Cop because it's so good and fucking funny.
Yeah.
It was just hard to decide. Bert, what's your cop movie of the 1980s?
So my cop movie, and I've got several honorable mentions.
Oh, yeah.
But I'll wait till Brad. I don't want to steal his thunder or anything. But mine was Turner and Hooch, another Tom Hanks movie with the dog and so good. What was it, French Bull Mastiff or something?
It was a Bull Mastiff.
Oh, I love that movie. I just think it's so good. It's another one. It comes on, I have to watch it. I just cannot not watch that.
Such a great movie.
Him, Craig T. Nelson's in it. The guy from Family Matters. I can't remember his name.
Oh, man, I can't remember his name either.
He's the dad. He was also in Die Hard. So
Eddie Winslow?
That's the son's name in the show, but his dad... I can't remember his name. He liked Twinkies in Die Hard. He was a big black guy.
Yeah.
He was the
great actor. I love him. I think he's a great actor. Enjoyed a lot of stuff he's been in. But he's in it. He's supposed to be Tom Hanks' replacement. Craig T. Nelson's like their boss. And there was somebody else in there that's kind of big. Well, he's not really big, but he's been in a lot of stuff. I can't remember his name now.
I have to know this shit.
Well, Brad, what was your cop movie of the 80s?
I went with RoboCop. As far as I can remember, the first rated R movie that had an action figure line to accompany it. Goddamn.
So, totally liked RoboCop. It's amazing how RoboCop predicted the future. Detroit going out of business, following bankruptcy. I'm just waiting for like GM or something to actually buy Detroit and run it now. And then we're going to see like RoboCop out there, but it's going to have a Chevy emblem on its chest instead. I mean... They predicted it back in the 80s. They predicted Detroit was going to go bankrupt. And
what was the name of the bad RoboCop?
The Ed
2000s or something like that?
Yeah.
So I loved RoboCop. I thought it was a great movie. He was awesome. Those things kicked ass.
Yeah.
Didn't they look like pistachios with feet and just giant?
They had these big ass fucking robot legs and stuff, and that creepy ass you're about to get shot the fuck up voice. Those things were fucking sweet.
Me and my cousins loved this movie. We had all the toys and shit, and they just loved it.
Yeah, I liked the movie a lot. There was a TV show. Reginald VelJohnson.
I've never heard that name before. This dude is in so many movies, and I've never heard that name before.
Carl Winslow.
Yeah, he was
Carl Winslow. Let's just call him Carl Winslow.
Yeah, great actor. Like I said, he's good. But yeah, RoboCop. I love the movie. Second one was okay. Third one I thought was kind of
Yeah.
The TV show that came out for a while. I don't know if y'all ever watched the TV show.
I never got to see that.
Really well done. It was only 2 or 3 seasons, I think. Maybe less than that. The show was really well done. I really enjoyed it. So, yeah, RoboCop. And then they did the remake. I was pretty impressed with the remake.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the remake.
I thought the remake was decent.
I didn't mind it.
So, Michael Keaton is a bad guy. I mean, come on. It's kind of hard not to like it, you know? So.
Yeah.
I think they still did a good job.
Oh, yeah, they did. All right, some honorable mentions now for cop movies.
All right, cop me.
Tango and Cash, Kurt Russell, Sylvester Stallone.
Of course.
Loved it. 48 Hours and another 48 Hours with Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte. Super good. Next to Ken Falls is a cop movie, actually, with Patrick Swayze, because he's a cop, so that plays out well.
See, I was going to put Die Hard in my cop movies. But
And
I
see,
really like Lethal Weapon and Beverly Hills Cop, so that's why I threw Die Hard up in the action movie.
Totally fits there, too. And there are a couple others. I know I'm missing them. I can't remember what they are now. But there were just so... Red Heat, that was it.
Well, and then was Kindergarten Cop in the 90s or the 80s?
Early 90s, I believe. Maybe 89.
What about the one with Burt Reynolds, Cop and a Half? Or Sylvester Stallone, Stop or My Mom Will Shoot?
That was 1991, I believe.
Oh, man.
There's a big story about that one. If we ever do a 90s episode, I'll talk about that story there.
Maybe we'll have to
Because that was dirty and rotten.
Maybe we'll have to talk about everything there is to talk about in the 80s. And then move on to the 90s.
Maybe. And then a Cobra with Sylvester Stallone.
Cobra was a shit.
Another good cop movie, so.
Oh, man. That was just such a good movie. Cop movies, man.
They were there. They were good. They were fabulous.
They were.
Have there been good cop movies since? I can't think of any off the top of my head.
There's a few, but not. So the nice thing about cop movies back then, there was a lot of comedy mixed in with the action and drama and the bad guys. Now the cop movies are like super, super serious, and they're all drama, and it kind of takes away from it. And I think that spin happened because of shows like Law and Order and stuff like that. I think they really changed the way people were looking at cops.
Yeah, they just started that new show. What was it called? Just 911, and it's very heavy on the drama.
Yeah, so a lot of drama. They don't have that funness to them. I mean, that's something that the 80s was really good about. Even like Big Trouble in Little China. Ooh, fantasy, crazy, magical stuff happening. But there's like a little joke here Kurt Russell tells, or, there's a soft spot in it.
Jack Burton.
I mean, it's really, movies aren't like that anymore. And it's kind of a shame because I enjoy those qualities of movies.
Yeah, that's probably one of the standout things that I love about the 80s was like they could take any subject and make it funny.
Yeah.
And it was okay. You didn't have to take everything so serious.
Yeah. Perfect example, taking on cash, very beginning of the movie, Sylvester Stallone starts shooting at the tanker truck coming at him. And this other cop looks at Sylvester Stallone's character and goes, "What do you think, you're Rambo or something?" And he goes, "Rambo's a pussy." I love the reference.
Like that.
Let me reference myself in another successful movie regime I'm in.
How many times has Arnold Schwarzenegger said, "I'll be back" in other movies that weren't Terminator?
Good point.
It was his thing.
It was good. It was fucking good, though.
You gotta enjoy it. But a lot of movies, they don't do that anymore. I mean, comedy is either the slapstick, so stupid it's funny.
Dick and ball jokes.
Or it's so drama, you're intensified into it, like Phone Booth is a good example of a movie that was done in the 80s. There would have been some comical stuff to it. But those are gone. They don't do them like that anymore. And I guess there's a reason. The audience changed up and everything else. Another good cop movie, Dragnet, with Dan Aykroyd and Tom Hanks, based off the old TV show. Funny stuff. So
Another thing that the 80s did well was high school movies, man. And, I mean...
Not no teen movies, like another teen movie and all that crap. No. High school movies. Played by adults pretending to be young enough to be in high school.
Yeah, but there was a bunch of high school drama in there.
Oh, yeah.
So I had to add it in just because of how many high school movies were actually done in the fucking 80s. Movies that even teens today have seen and referenced. So my 1980s best high school movie was Summer School.
Don't be surprised if a lot of y'all haven't heard it. It was Kirstie Alley and... Kirsty, whatever. And Mark Harmon. Guy from NCIS. Pretty funny little movie. I had never met anybody who actually had seen this movie and I talked about it with until I met Stephanie.
But boom. Because it's a great fucking movie. So it's not, it's a high school movie. But the thing is Mark Harmon is teaching summer school. And there's all these different summer school people. There's a couple of horror movie lovers in this thing, and they put on this scene where they pretend like some mass murderers broke into their summer school class and killed everybody, and there's an eyeball on a pencil and shit and a saw blade, and
he just walks in like nothing happened.
And he knows his students, but it was some funny fucking shit, and that movie will always stick with me when it comes to the high school genre.
I love one the very beginning of it when they're trying to find a teacher to take because the teacher is supposed to do summer school, had her baby early or something, or she was in a car wreck, and they're trying to run down a teacher to take over the summer school teaching, and Mark Harmon's the gym teacher, and he's all about going to Hawaii with his little girlfriend, and he gets caught by the vice principal and doesn't get to go, gets conned into doing it. So,
Bert, what was your high school movie in the 1980s?
It's a classic. The Sausage King of Chicago, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Absolutely love that movie. I love how modern day movies such as Deadpool reference this movie repeatedly. Love it, love it, love it. It's just so great. It's got some great acting. Ben Stein's in it, so that makes it really great. That's an
Jennifer Grey's in it.
Jennifer Grey's in it. Charlie Sheen's in it.
What's the name of the principal?
I can't
remember. He's also in Howard the Duck.
Yeah, he's in a bunch of stuff. He's the dad in Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Mom and Dad Save the World. National Lampoon's Mom and Dad Save the World. I can't remember his name, but he's in it. It's just a all-around fun movie to watch. Super enjoy it.
Can I be 100% honest here?
You don't like Matthew Broderick?
I didn't think that movie was that fucking awesome.
All right.
I've maybe seen it 3 times. Put your fucking wedding ring back on and stop being such a drama bitch.
It's a great movie.
It's a good movie. It's just that there's...
Don Cushy, oh, Don Cushy.
Stop. I don't feel the need to see it all the time. I've maybe seen it 3 times. It's not something I reference constantly. You should watch it. I understand why people love it. But for me, in my mind, everything is like, all right, when you're playing Mortal Kombat and you're going up the fucking shit, up the tier, fighting all these people up the tower until you hit like Goro and shit. There's so many movies on Goro level. And fucking Ferris Bueller's Day Off is like Johnny Cage when it comes to the Mortal Kombat fucking tower. Sonya Blade, it's fucking down here, and all these other fucking movies are up here. It's still a good movie. I'm not putting it on my I don't like it list.
Hush now. So there was a Domino's commercial that was loosely based off Ferris Bueller's run through the backyards and everything because you got to get to his house before the pizza delivered. I just realized who that actor was.
Who?
That's the boyfriend from Stranger Things with the really cool hair.
Fuck, it is!
Holy crap! Anyway,
We're
Ferris
making
Bueller,
connections.
great movie because other great movies have to reference it, so it makes it great.
When Stewie does that run on the in fucking
Family Guy. Hello,
when
ladies.
when he's going back in time or whatever, and he's got to make it to the pool and shit. I get the reference. I get why it's a great movie. I'm not saying it's not a great movie. I'm just saying in my fucking totem of great movies, it's down toward Sonya Blade and Johnny Cage.
Just remember, Bueller.
I don't give a shit about Bueller.
Bueller.
I actually watched Win Ben Stein's Money.
I did too.
So Brad, what was your high school movie of the 80s?
I went with Teen Wolf.
Yeah.
Nice. The first one, right? Not the second one.
Absolutely.
The second one was so bad.
Yeah.
You can't get Michael J. Fox back. You might as well give up. That's another honorable mention right there. I'll put that down.
I like that movie. I like it better than Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh, Stephanie.
I'm just saying.
I just don't know.
Brad, what a beautiful pick.
Your pick sucked now. What was your pick again?
Mine was Summer School, and you love that fucking movie too.
I hate it now.
Anyway, so high school movies are shit without jocks and geeks. Because that was one of the things
are
that
we going to go some honorable mentions here?
Oh my god, what are your honorable mentions?
You got 16 Candles.
Yes.
Breakfast Club. We got to put them out there.
John Hughes.
Best Times, Rich High. Yep. Judge Reinhold. That's another actor of the 80s that you don't hear anything from anymore. Just putting it out there.
I get that there's a whole bunch of high school movies.
Okay, it is our mention too. Below Ferris Bueller's Day Off. So.
Some of these I tried harder than others to narrow it down to just one.
Okay, so what do high school movies need?
Jocks and geeks. They harped on that like segregation hard in the 80s. So I challenged Bert and Brad and myself to come up with the best jock and the best geek of high school movies of the 80s. Brad, what did you have?
I went with Bill and Ted.
For
the fucking geeks.
I mean, they're fairly big geeks, and I like it. I like it. I think they're good geeks.
It's between them and Spicoli.
Spicoli. I mean, they're both kind of airheads. But I mean, they're also heavy metal.
Yeah, but you gotta think, were the heavy metal kids in high school cool?
Not then.
And they weren't when I was in high school either.
Like then,
they're still not.
Yeah.
In the 90s, they became goths and emos, and I'm like, heavy metal kids can be fun and happy.
Late 90s. Before that, they were grudge music. They were all about like
grunge.
Nirvana. Yeah, they're all that. Yeah.
I mean, they're way cooler than the yuppies, but they weren't
Absolutely.
the yuppies.
Yeah,
they weren't the
that's
jocks.
true. They weren't the poor kids either.
Nope.
Yeah.
Because their parents usually had money, and they were going to be the loser of the family at the rate they were going. That's how they were usually played out. So
yeah, in the movies, they stereotyped the fuck out of jocks and geeks.
But if you wanted your stereotypical geek with the glasses and the Band-Aid,
No, it didn't have to be stereotypical geek.
Well, yeah, I would just have to go with Bill and Ted because stoners. Well.
yeah, I get it. Yeah, they totally fit the stoner category without the mention of marijuana.
They definitely have a stoner profile without actually mentioning marijuana.
Definitely.
Bert, since I destroyed your fucking life, what's your jock and geek?
So, same set of movies. Jock first is Ogre from Revenge of the Nerds.
Yeah.
Nerds!
I love Ogre, though.
Love Ogre, because I love how he converts. What is it, the third one?
He's a lovable jock, because he doesn't know any better. And you learn later in the movies, he's one step away from being a nerd. They're just controlling him. He is a lovable jock. You don't want to kill him.
Yeah. Love Ogre, and then the geek, same movie, Booger.
Booger.
Loved Booger.
Booger ruled.
So,
Booger.
I love the burping competition.
I totally own that. I've taught the young man the burp. He does a pretty good job.
I don't know. You
Burp
give
on
me
command.
these Zevia colas for keto, I burp like 3 men combined.
What's your one?
I can't now. I actually got out all my burps before you showed up to record.
Yeah, I got blamed for it. Daddy!
And then I was like, no, buddy, that didn't come out your daddy. That was mommy's burp. Anyway, so my jock and geek. I'll start with my jock. Martin Kove, Kreese from The Karate Kid. The guy that's running the dojo master or whatever, the main dickhead in Karate Kid. He's also in Revenge of the Nerds. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that dude in the 80s was just like the biggest jock dick ever. So he had to be in my biggest jock. Best geek though, Ducky, John Cryer from Pretty in Pink. I loved him. And fuck that other guy that she was going for. 100% Team Ducky right here. That dude, I loved him. I 100% would have dated him.
Wasn't that other guy James Spader?
No, he was the jock dick in Pretty in Pink.
Was he? Okay.
Yeah, the guy.
I know he was in it. I couldn't remember what
the
character
guy that
he played.
she actually had a crush on. I don't remember his name, but like this dude, and like she's all looking at him like he's fucking psycho and stuff. I'm like, he's hilarious. He has a great personality. He's cute as fuck. You need to date him. Ducky is my best geek.
Approved.
I'm glad I redeemed myself.
Oh, you're still not redeemed.
Whatever. You're just fucking jelly.
Yeah, probably.
Anyway, so I had to put it in there for the dude since I had in romance. Sports movies of the 1980s. Brad.
Bloodsport.
Excellent.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Dude, the look on his face actually makes me nervous when he does that big ass in the air fucking classic Jean-Claude Van Damme kick. The look in his eyes and shit, it actually makes me nervous every time I see it. He always did the same kick in every fucking movie, but it had the same look and it always made me uneasy.
Yeah, he fucking ruled. He made me want to sign up for karate when I was a kid.
Like, that is, I'll tell you, Arnold's fucking huge. But when it comes to just being a fit motherfucker, Jean-Claude Van Damme, like head to toe fucking fitness.
That's
man.
who I wanted to be when I was a youngin'.
And his tan. Was that man ever fucking pale?
Never.
I mean, he was just so good. Bloodsport's a great movie. I haven't seen it forever. I actually need to watch it.
It's good.
Bert, what's your sports movie of the 80s?
If you build it, they will come. Field of Dreams. Kevin Costner, James Earl Jones. Just a simple, down-home, enjoyable movie.
It was a great movie, though. It really was. I haven't seen it in a really long time, but it was a great movie.
Yeah, it's up there. Major League, honorable mention.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wow thing.
Unfortunately, no one has ever seen my 1980 sports movie except for me and 3 other people that I know. It was a BMX movie called Rad, and it was fucking awesome.
I think they mentioned that on the Goldbergs a couple weeks ago. If you guys ever watched that show.
But the chick that's dating what's-his-nuts from Full House. Wow. Man, I can't remember anybody's name tonight. Uncle Jesse's girlfriend.
Crap, I used to know her name. First name's Laura.
Her. She's in Rad.
I bet she looked good back in the day.
I mean,
She looked good on Full House, buddy.
She did,
I mean, she was cute as fuck in that movie. And it was just like this guy, and he was trying to get into this BMX racing competition, and he rode his bike everywhere, and she rode a bike too, and it was really cute. But there was this dance scene where it was the song Real Life, Send Me an Angel. Love 80s music too. And they're doing their little bunny hops and stuff on the bike while they're dancing on bicycles. And what I loved about the 80s too was when you could always tell that it was some dude in a fucking wig doing these stunts. And I can think of 2 that stand out in my mind. That person from the movie Rad and the ski scene from Better Off Dead. That's a dude skiing with a shitty wig on, not that French girl. It's so good. It's so hilarious when you notice things like that. But I don't think it takes away from the movie that much. I mean, there just wasn't good wigs in the 80s. What can you do? So, the guilty pleasure category. Where my mind was with the guilty pleasures was a movie that had horrible ratings and everybody's like, that movie was stupid, but for whatever reason, you dug the movie hard. For me...
I thought it was like closet thing. If I was a Little Mermaid fan or...
Yeah, well...
It's the skeleton in your closet.
Yeah.
Like, if your friends are standing around, like some people, I'm not that way. Because I'll be like, excuse me, no. I don't like it. Or I do like it. But most people, like, when people are bad-mouthing a fucking movie and you actually like it, you kind of keep your mouth shut. Mm-hmm. So it is like a closet movie. A guilty pleasure is like a closet movie. I don't have any of those.
Liar, what is it?
Howard the Duck. I've been a Howard the Duck fan since day fucking one.
That's what I went with.
Yes, well, you went with Brad.
I think that movie's fucking genius.
It's fucking amazing, man.
Yeah.
I don't think I've
Wait!
ever...
It's also the dad from Beetlejuice.
Yeah, I don't think I've
He's
ever...
in all these movies.
I don't think I ever watched it all the way through.
What the
It's
It's
great.
so fucking
I love
good.
Too. But it's got to be a great movie because it is referenced in the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Because remember, the Collector has Howard the Duck in one of the glass cages. So
I get that it was kind of cheesy, and I get that it kind of really didn't have anywhere to go. But it did make sense. It had a point. The alien monsters coming down from that was scary as fuck. It was scary as fuck. And Howard the Duck was cute as fuck. It was just a good movie.
I loved it, yeah.
Well, Brad and I are fucking closeted fucking Howard the Duck fans no more. We're out.
Yeah, I was never closeted about it, but I got made fun of for enjoying it.
I mean, people make fun of me for all kinds of shit, but I enjoyed the shit out of Howard the Duck, and I have for many, many years, because I still watch that shit every now and then.
And it comes from the creator, George Lucas.
From the creator.
the creator.
George Lucas,
That makes me
Jesus
think of
Christ, there's no difference.
Makes me think of that Tosh.0 episode we watched just recently, but we saw it like when it first came out. There's a spot where this guy's filming in Hollywood, and Daniel Tosh is like, "All right, point out the billionaire when you see him." And all of a sudden, this guy's talking about something. All of a sudden, you see George Lucas look at the camera, and walk right on by.
So he's just like vlogging his trip, and he's like, boom, George Lucas just walks right behind him. Dude's fucking completely unaware, wearing his fucking, what do they call it? A Canadian tuxedo when they're wearing denim on top and denim on the bottom. Just in his fucking classic Canadian tuxedo, just walks into a building.
So funny.
Like, how do you not notice that?
Yeah, for real.
George freaking Lucas, you know?
All right, since Brad and I are on the same page, Bert, what's your guilty pleasure of the 1980s?
All right, so once again, Channel 64, Saturday movie matinee, Buckaroo Banzai in the Fourth Dimension.
Buckaroo Banzai.
I don't think I've seen that.
Whoa. Wait.
A couple I need to...
It's
Brad,
a
I'm pretty
B
sure
science
it's on your
movie.
Voodoo. I'm
Is
fairly fucking certain that movie's on your Voodoo.
Well, there's a lot of movies on the Voodoo.
But no, it's a different type of movie. Definitely 80s.
It's
Definitely
a cute
80s.
movie. There's a couple of movies that I've really liked, and I can't remember all the years, so I may say something into the 90s, but Buckaroo Banzai, Cherry 2000, and the movie The Mannequin. I always felt like I was waiting for them to come on TV, and they never did.
Yeah, I could see that. It
was a good movie. But it was those ones that I liked that I never fucking played. You kind of almost forget that they exist.
Agreed.
I don't have it on Voodoo.
You don't?
No.
I could have swore you did. Maybe
I recommend it. It's a different movie. It's definitely 80s.
Maybe
Definitely
it's
feel
on
the 80s.
So. I don't know. We have Brad's Voodoo, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime.
Probably on Hulu or Netflix.
We're fucking covered. Okay.
All right, Letdowns.
So, the mental thought behind Letdowns was a movie from the 80s that everybody hyped. Oh, it's my favorite movie, blah, 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 blah. And then you watch it and you're like, this movie fucking sucks. So, Brad, what was your letdown of the 1980s?
I loved it when I was a kid, but I watched it a couple years ago and I thought it was awful. The Never-Ending Story. Yeah.
I heard it ended.
I mean, eventually, after the crap second one, which had Jonathan Brandis in it, my first heartthrob. Shut up. Anyway, so I still like it.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't feeling it at all that
I
day.
get what you're saying, though, because like we were discussing earlier, when I was a kid, I thought He-Man was the best fucking thing that ever happened to anybody ever. And then it came out in a DVD collection, and I'm like, yes! And I bought it, and I sat down, and I was like, what the fuck did I ever see in this show?
The cartoon?
The cartoon. Now, I remember watching She-Ra, too. And She-Ra was still good, but He-Man, sometimes you have to just let your kid mind rule. But I get where you mean, where you like something was awesome as a kid, and then you watch it as an adult, and you're like,
well,
oh.
A lot of these movies we mentioned earlier, we watched as kids, and kids movie like Short Circuit and all that shit. That still stands the test of time.
Absolutely.
It does. Yeah.
Absolutely. Because we just watched Short Circuit a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, still love this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Still
mean,
love
when
this
you
movie.
revisit it, If it stands the test of time, that's awesome. But some of them don't.
Some of them don't. And never.
And that's a
story.
letdown too, because you remember like the stuff from when you were a kid.
It came out on Blu-ray. I saw it at Walmart. I grabbed it up. Like, I haven't seen this movie forever. Can't wait to watch it. And I'm like, what is this? This is garbage. Like, definitely didn't stand the test of time.
I still like
me.
it. Here's my thing. I don't think the whole story with the kid, the main kid, doesn't interest me. It didn't even interest me when I was.
think that's what it was for me.
Fucking Falcor and Atreyu, man. That was all I cared about in that movie. Falcor and Atreyu. I didn't care about the little kid.
Yeah.
At all. He was getting bullied. That was fucking horrible. But my whole thing was Falcor was the shit. And I wanted everything that was happening with Atreyu. I was into Atreyu's story. They should have like an origin story all about Atreyu. I'd have dug it even more. But I get what you're saying about things not being as entertaining when you're an adult. Bert, what's your biggest 1980s letdown?
All right, there's two. There's two. One is because my parents love the fantasy movies that I watched this. It was called Mazes and Monsters. It was a TV-made movie with Tom Hanks in it. And it was about this guy who was really getting into like Dungeons and Dragons kind of stuff. They don't really go into the name because that would have been like a copyright infringement or something. But this guy like loses his mind. And when I say loses his mind, like he gets so wrapped up in building or developing this game or this campaign that he just kind of thinks it's real. But I did like it because it was the only time I got to see the inside of the World Trade Center. Because at the end of the movie, there's a part where he's going through the World Trade Center, the very opening and everything. And that was definitely a place I wanted to visit, but I never got the chance to because of 9/11. So because of this movie, I actually got to see what the inside looked like for the most part. So TV-made movie, it was low budget, story was kind of crap, acting was I guess for low budget, acting is what it was. I'm glad Tom Hanks' career was not based off this movie because it would have went nowhere. The next movie was Masters of the Universe, the live-action version of He-Man.
Speaking of He-Man.
So, what's his name?
Dolph Lundgren.
Dolph Lundgren as He-Man.
Courtney Cox. And then Robert Duncan McNeil, which many of you all may not know who that is. That guy played Tom Paris in Star Trek Voyager. One of his first acting gigs. So, not a big name, but Courtney Cox is absolutely a big name, and she was huge because of Friends and everything else. But they were no names at this time. So, it wasn't that good of a movie. It was just kind of bad. So, kind of bad.
It was another Channel 64 Saturday matinee special.
They had so much story to start with. How they could blow it so hard, so fast in that movie, I never understood it. It was not pretty. Brad, did you see Masters of the Universe?
Oh, it's been so long. I was never a big He-Man person anyway, so I didn't get
I loved He-Man and She-Ra, and I hate when people don't remember who the fuck She-Ra was.
I remember She-Ra, but
it drives me fucking crazy. And I'm like, that's fucking He-Man's sister, bitch. She had her own show too, okay? She rode like a fucking unicorn and stuff. Suck it. Anyway, she had a sword and everything. She was a sweet-ass looking blonde. Makes me mad people don't remember who She-Ra was.
Who's She-Ra?
Oh, my God. Anyway, so I'm going to lose so many brownie points for this one. My biggest letdown was Dirty Dancing. Everybody acted like this was the iconic fucking movie of all time, and I was like, whatever, it's not bad, but it was nothing to me what everybody else thought it was.
I thought it was a good movie.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
I did not enjoy it. If I never watched it again, I wouldn't be sad.
I'm pretty sure that's where I discovered boners when I got my first one. Watching Dirty Dancing.
Okay, who was it that did it for you, though?
It wasn't Patrick Swayze. It was
between the two girls.
Oh, it was the
Jennifer Grey or what's her nuts?
It was
blonde.
the chick where they were getting all, and she was in her bra, and they were touching.
So it was a girl-on-girl dance scene.
No, it was with Patrick Swayze was with her. I think she was down in her shirt. They were about to hook up.
Then it was Jennifer Grey.
Yeah, it must have been her.
She was a cutie.
Which is, Brad, you like short chicks, don't you? Because the blonde was tall.
I was only 10 years old.
Brad wasn't almost 7'9" at this time.
Yeah.
I forget that you were ever small.
I was probably like 5'8", so...
Oh, man. That's great. Now I know, like, anytime there's a Jennifer Grey reference, I'm going to think of you and your first boner now. Not in a bad way, though.
Oh, Jesus.
I'll make fun of you for it later. But yeah, everybody, makes such a big deal about the movie, and it just wasn't a big deal for me. It just wasn't. Also, a little loss of brownie points. I wasn't that hot on Grease either.
Yeah, I wasn't either, really.
First one was good. I did not like the second one.
But did Grease come out in the 80s?
I don't even remember. It doesn't matter. I'm just losing brownie points. These movies that are so hyped and everyone's like, oh my God. And then when they find out you don't like it, they act like you're a fucking idiot. And I'm like, it just didn't tickle my pickle.
So just to blow your world, I don't know if this blows your world or not, Brad, but Jennifer Grey is married to Robert Clark Gregg, who is Agent Coulson from Iron Man.
Oh, okay.
Whoa, wow. That's right. Because they did the lip sync battle.
We watched them do the lip sync battle.
Yeah. Huh. She's still a fucking cutie.
Is she? I haven't seen her, anything from her. Is she still do movies and whatnot?
No, not so much. Not so much.
But
she got a nose job, and that kind of ruined her career, a lot of people say.
Really?
Yep.
What fuck faces? I mean, look at Pamela Anderson and people. Oh, she got a nose job. Fuck her. Oh, I fucking hate people. Anyway, before I go off on a fucking rant, we're breaking it down to the nitty gritty. Best actor, period, of the 1980s. Brad.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. He gave me Predator, Terminator, Commando, Conan, and Twins.
I mean, that's a great fucking lineup.
It is.
Me being a sci-fi nerd, Predator and Terminator, I mean, those are...
absolutely great.
Yeah, some of the top franchises in my, nerddom.
It's fucking... In a list, if I had to pick, the world's gonna fucking end in a year, and I had to compile fucking movies, I would probably watch The Aliens, Terminator, and Predator 2 or 3 times in that fucking last year on Earth.
Oh, yeah.
They're great fucking movies. And Schwarzenegger, who cares if he can barely speak fucking English?
He was fucking great.
He was great. And I don't think a lot of people remember Commando. But, what's her name? Alyssa Milano played his daughter.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was a great movie, too. But, Bert, what's your best actor of the 80s?
I don't have one.
How many do you have?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Now, I'm pissed off because I may have gotten out of control on the fantasy category.
You absolutely
But you sat here in the kitchen with me when I fucking struggled on this.
I know.
And you're going to do 4? I'm making you pick 2.
All right. So Tom Hanks is number 1. Because, I mean, every movie he did in the 80s was really, really good.
I'm not gonna crucify you for that.
And I'm going to say Sylvester Stallone. Because he did a bunch of really good movies, too.
I won't crucify you on that either.
And then 3 honorable mentions.
No! You stop right there. We'll come back to honorable mentions after I do not mine.
All right, do yours.
I struggled, but I had to pick one. You can do honorable mentions for other categories, because there are always. But if it's best actor, I went with Harrison Ford.
You can't go wrong there either.
Nope. Totally belongs there. I mean, like I said, Indiana Jones again.
Fucking
Star Wars movies.
Oh my God. Why didn't I even think of him? That's breaking my heart, really.
I'm so sorry.
You have broken Brad.
I'm so sorry I stole your beefcake.
Oh, wow.
But for me, and I hate to say it's because I do love the Star Wars movies. For me, it was because of fucking Indiana Jones.
Yeah. He
is my shit forever. How many years was it, Bert? My fucking ringtone on my phone was the Indiana Jones theme song.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that.
Mine for you is the Imperial March from Star Wars.
Whatever. Anyway.
Yeah, Harrison Ford totally deserves it. Absolutely.
I didn't even think of him. Why?
Oh my God. It's over. Fucking podcast is over for Brad. He's going to go home and cry.
Which 2 of his movies are on my fucking top movie list? And
I know. See, I tried to mix it up so I didn't mention any one person or any one franchise multiple times. Mm-hmm. And that's just how I make my list, because I don't like things to become redundant.
Yeah. No, not at all.
But, okay, so, best actress.
Hang on, can we do honorable mentions?
Oh, fine. What are your honorable mentions?
Michael J. Fox.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Totally deserves it. Matthew Broderick.
Meh.
He totally deserves it. Kurt Russell. Totally deserves it.
Totally.
Those movies all had a mark on my life. Movies they were in.
I can see why they're honorable mentions, though, and not your top.
Yeah.
I think Tom Hanks, your number 1, is far superior from them. on your list, because we know mine's Harrison Ford. Mm-hmm. And now Brad's, and he's hating himself right now. Anyway, so, best actress of the 1980s. I struggled fucking hard with this one, too.
I didn't struggle too hard.
Well, then who's yours?
Winona Ryder. I still think she's beautiful to this day.
Yeah, she's on my list.
Oh my God,
She has
love
got,
her.
and I hate to say this is such a fucking chick thing to say, she's got great fucking skin.
She's just thinking about her is just,
Uh-oh.
wow.
Uh-oh. Brad's gonna get Jennifer Grey on us.
Yeah.
I've never had a problem with her. Actually, the other day I watched Heathers.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, you think of her in Beetlejuice, and she's a cute goth chick. I mean, you have to give her that. But then I saw her in Heathers, like, God, she was smoking.
Yeah.
Even in Mr. Deeds with Adam Sandler, I mean, she looked really good.
Fuck, even in the fourth Aliens movie, she was her little pixie cut and shit.
I think Edward Scissorhands really set it off for me, but...
Yeah, I could see that.
It's like, wow, who is this babe?
So hard that's a babe without boobs.
She's got a nice rack.
Smaller. I would choose, like, when I think of you picking, like, any amazing chick, she's got, like, fucking G's and H's and stuff, and her stuff's, like, swollen, and she has to fucking put her tits in a wheelbarrow, and that's just, I mean, I've known you long enough. That's just what I picture.
Well, I have to pick somebody from Hollywood, so...
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Not somebody from the 1980s porn industry. So, Bert, what was your best actress of the 1980s?
I had two. We've talked about both of them. Winona Ryder and Jennifer Grey.
Oh, man. Robert also appreciates your boner ladies.
I do. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like Sharon Stone. Yeah.
I mean, if they weren't hot, they wouldn't be actresses.
Yeah.
I mean, they're attractive, but, I mean, you also have to do merit. And...
So if I go by merit, then I have to give complete credit to Gina Davis, then.
Gina Davis
great
is
actress,
fucking awesome.
Great actress. I think she's a good
I loved her
woman.
more in the 90s, though.
Agreed. But, like, she got her start in the 80s.
Because, like, fucking Cutthroat Island and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's...
But Gina Davis... And, oh, my God, The Long Kiss Goodnight. But anyway, I'm getting into the 90s. But Gina Davis is the shit. Her mouth is, like, disproportionate. There's something going on there that I don't understand. But Gina Davis is great. But so my best actress, I struggled. But I finally narrowed it down to one. Fucking Whoopi Goldberg. So, in... the 80s movies, some of the movies that I haven't mentioned already that I fucking love is like Fatal Beauty, Jumpin' Jack Flash, and The Burglar. And they're all Whoopi Goldberg movies, and they're fucking awesome movies. And I just think that she is tits. It was so heavily on the dudes in the 80s, but she was just a badass bitch in the 80s, and I appreciated it. So that's why Whoopi Goldberg is my number one for actresses in the 80s.
I used to like Whoopi Goldberg. I liked her back then when she was cool.
See, I can just appreciate
like
how cool she used to be and not worry about what she is
today. Yep,
today.
and I totally get that. I totally respect that.
But yeah,
she's lost a lot of respect from me here recently.
So, I mean, the first one I ever saw was Jumpin' Jack Flash. Awesome fucking movie. And then Fatal Beauty was great. And then The Burglar was fucking hilarious. I just love all of Whoopi Goldberg's 80s movies.
What's that guy with a really weird voice that was in that movie with her? Was it The Burglar?
Which
Bobcat?
one? Bobcat Goldthwait is his name. And there's a TH in there because I always mispronounce it.
That's
Bobcat,
the coolest name ever, Bobcat. I'm just going to put it out
Goldthwait.
there. It's the coolest name ever.
He still does comedy to this day, too, in that high-pitch-ass voice.
The only reason he did that one comedy show he recently did was because he's like, yeah, I'm out of money, so they said, do a comedy special. I loved it because he was like honest with everybody about it. But wasn't he in Burglar? Wasn't that the one he was in, or was it Jumping Jack Flash?
No, it was Burglar.
Yeah. And he was also in the Police Academy.
Yeah, and then because
totally enjoyed him.
In The Burglar, when they pull Bobcat into the fucking interrogation room, and it's actually Goodman that interviews him. He's the cop in Burglar.
His actual name is Robert, but he goes by Bobcat. Maybe I should go by Bobcat. Would that be better than Bert?
Yes. Please.
We may change, folks. We may change, because Bobcat's a cool name. I may go with that.
Better Bobcat than Bert. But anyway, he's hilarious. That interrogation scene with Goodman and fucking Bobcat was the funniest shit ever. It was so good. I miss 80s Whoopi.
Yeah, 80s, early 90s Whoopi Goldberg was awesome. This 2000s version, not a fan.
So, moving on to our next category, best car of the 80s. We had to mention the cars, because especially within like the action in the cop movies, cars, man. So, Brad, what's your 1980s car?
The Ecto-1.
Woohoo! I love the siren from that.
Yeah, it's just a beautiful piece of machinery.
I would drive the shit out of it.
I would too.
Bert?
Oh, well, I think TV shows more than anything, but I was told not to mention TV shows.
No, because we're going to do a whole episode on 1980s TV shows. We are fucking retro rewinding this bitch.
So I am going with the Smokey and the Bandit Firebird Trans Am, early 80s model.
Ooh.
Didn't that one have T-tops?
Yes.
I don't know why, but I've always thought...
There's a 70s version and there was an 80s version that was used.
I always thought the T-tops were the shit. I don't know why. I mean, I get that it's kind of like a half a convertible, but I always thought T-tops were better than a convertible. I don't know why.
I prefer T-tops.
So, unfortunately, my best car is another movie that probably nobody has ever seen. It's a movie called Wraith, The Wraith, with Charlie Sheen in it. And, I mean, the whole movie is basically this guy dies racing in a car accident, and he comes back as Charlie Sheen, and he's like a wraith, like a ghost. And he's got this badass, like, futuristic-looking car. And the car was actually the Dodge M4S. They called it the Turbo Interceptor. But it was just a sweet-ass fucking car. And it just always stood out in my mind because it was, like, low profile as fuck. And it was all... Everything was fucking black on it, and it was just a badass car. But I do have an honorable mention. The fucking goblin face semi-truck from Maximum Overdrive.
Oh, yeah.
That truck fucked me up for years. Like, I mean, it wasn't, like, scary, but it was fucking scary. And that movie, I loved. So, whenever I think of vehicles, one of the ones that pops into my head is that semi from Maximum Overdrive. That goblin face, man. I don't know who designed that shit, but...
It was tight.
Awards galore for that, man.
Nope, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, so I got a little crazy on this one. 80s movies were also known for their dance sequences, even when dance sequences weren't needed. But it was a cute little fucking thing that they threw in there. So, Brad, what's your best dance sequence of the 1980s?
See, I didn't do a dance sequence. I was thinking montage, like the song in the middle of the movie where they're like getting their ammo together or they're going out or, you know, whatever. You know, like you cut it back and forth between the group of people.
Well, I mean, a montage is shit without a song anyway.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
what was yours?
I picked Michael Cimbello, Rock Until You Drop from the Monster Squad. Fucking love that jam. I still listen to it at parties to this day.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Whenever I think of Michael Cimbello, though, unfortunately it goes to Maniac and Flashdance, but it's still fucking iconic.
But have you heard Rock Until
fun.
You Drop?
Of course.
Yeah, it's a great jam.
It is a great jam. Michael Cimbello, like...
And it was in Monster Squad. It's when they're gearing up to go fight the monsters. And
it is a beautiful music.
The kids writing the letter to the army.
Yeah.
Dear Army.
Yeah, and that song fits epic in there. Like, it's really good.
Great movie.
Bert, what was yours? Are you going to dance or are you just going to music us?
Mine's dance. I mean, Dirty Dancing deserves to be on here, but I'm going to go with Footloose with Kevin Bacon.
Which part? The actual Footloose dance or the one where they're training?
When they're in the when he's in the warehouse and he doesn't think anybody's watching.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. I was thinking you were talking about the Let's Hear It for the Boys.
Nope. When he's out there, he cranks up the music in his Volkswagen Beetle. And he's dancing in the warehouse. And that
I forgot about that's a great fucking theme.
It's the best. I mean, I was going to say a Dirty Dancing one, but nope, Footloose deserves it all the way.
So I know I just yelled at you. I have 4.
I'm done, folks.
Okay, but I'll mention.
You can mention them all. I'm not going to be that husband.
Okay. So
Bobcat's not going to be that husband.
Bobcat.
Beetlejuice, Deo.
Absolutely. Amazing. I mean, I wish I would have actually remembered that one because
Ducky in Pretty in Pink when he walks into that fucking record store and Otis Redding and Try a Little Tenderness and that little dance he does, that is some shit that I do, and I totally would have fucking porked Ducky. Fucking, fuck you, Molly Ringwald, you're stupid.
She was a travesty to the 80s.
a fucking cute one, and again, where they're throwing in animation with a regular movie. In the movie Better Off Dead, when he's cooking the fucking burgers, and then the burgers start dancing, Everybody Wants Some, Van Halen. That's fucking awesome. And the concert in the movie Nerds.
Yep. When they're all dressed up and doing the electro, and then got the suits on.
And he's got the fucking violin and shit. That's so good.
That makes me want to build an electric violin, by the way. I think that'd be so cool.
I think it'd be awesome.
I'm going to have to look that up.
I botched that one. I'm going to go Lost Boys trumpet dude or saxophone guy. Motherfuckers remember that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that was good.
Montages. Like training montages. Does anybody think of one?
That's what mine was.
Rocky. Rocky's just,
The training montages.
Runs up the steps. Oh, yeah.
So do you guys remember in The Karate Kid when he's whooping everybody's ass in the competition and it's like, you're the best around? Ever since we started doing this list, that song's been stuck in my head, and over again, it's that fucking montage where he's going through kicking everybody's ass. And then I remembered in the movie Revenge of the Nerds, do you remember when they were doing the fucking Olympics and shit? That montage was great too.
I love that one. Yeah, the Greek Olympics, yeah.
Yeah, so that one was funny as fuck. So, alright, we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty. The nitty-gritty to finish off this retro rewind. The Battle of the Action Heroes, 1980 style. So in the running, we put Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Chuck Norris, Dolph Lundgren, Jean-Claude Van Damme, and Bruce Willis. And we had to pick one. Who would get the badge of fucking honor as the 1980s action hero? Brad, who'd you go with?
Schwarzenegger.
I had to agree. I also went with Schwarzenegger. I broke it down and IMDb'd all their movies. And like Bruce Willis, I love, but he did most of his shit in the 90s. Mm-hmm. And then I looked at Jean-Claude's, and there just wasn't enough die-hard, dad joke, movies for me to choose him and put him at my top.
He was my second.
At the end, for me personally, it came down to Chuck Norris and fucking Schwarzenegger with an honorable mention of Stallone, and I had to go Schwarzenegger.
I think Chuck Norris is overrated.
I don't know. There's one particular movie of Chuck Norris's that I love, Firewalker.
The Rage.
Yeah.
The Rage is an amazing movie. You know what? Going through all this and thinking about how they all starred in Expendables, or one of the Expendable movies, it's just, I don't know. I mean, if you compare it by the 80s, Schwarzenegger and Stallone are definitely the two runners for me.
Yeah.
Chuck Norris, I mean, even though he's as popular as he was then, it's still, those two really kind of owned the 80s. If you're to look at those 80s actors now, I don't know. I mean, it'd be a lot closer of a tie, I think, between Bruce Willis and Chuck Norris and Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Today, Bruce Willis probably would have won it out for me. But in the 80s, it had to be Schwarzenegger.
But just a little fact here. Chuck Norris's real name is Carlos Ray Norris, which I think is funny.
Wow.
And he was born March 10th in 1940, which is the day before Nazi Germany did something. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going.
Yeah, because there's that meme going around how Chuck Norris was born and the Nazis are like,
yeah. I don't know how it works out because 1940 doesn't work out really well.
I don't know. Anyway, fuck me.
I was brought it up. But yeah, I really, I do enjoy Chuck Norris's movies. They didn't all, like the Delta Force movies were eh.
I mean, they were okay.
I really enjoyed Rambo's. I really enjoyed Tango and Cash. I really enjoyed Arnold Schwarzenegger in Terminator, Commando. There's another movie where he's like an FBI agent. I can't remember it. It was not really well done.
Who, Stallone?
No. It was Schwarzenegger. He's an FBI agent. He goes undercover and all this other stuff. I can't remember.
Hold on, my brain. Fuck. There it goes again. Same thing with me forgetting all these damn names. Anyway, did you picked Stallone for your Battle of the Heroes?
Yeah, I'm gonna say Stallone wins, and it's super close. I mean, a feather could have tilted it to Schwarzenegger easily.
Right. I mean,
I gotta be a little different from you guys though. So
I mean, he's just so big, and his movies were so big and so great, and fucking Predator and Terminator. It was hard to choose any of the others. Those two movies alone had to tip the scales in favor of Schwarzenegger for me. He's just a beefy ass dude.
They all did so many good movies, though. And they did some bad ones, too. And like I said, when we do the 90s thing, I'll tell you a little bit about the feud between Stallone and Schwarzenegger. Because there was a feud there going on. A lot of people think there might not have been, but there was a total feud going on.
I don't know if this is just one of those like urban legend things. Did Sylvester Stallone really start out as the Italian stallion in porn?
Yes.
I knew that, but I was like, is that some shit that somebody fucking told me?
Well, let's confirm
Or was it true?
Everything I ever heard said he did, so.
I mean, if he did, good on him. I mean, isn't that everybody's dream? To bang for money and then become a huge fucking action star?
Yeah, I think so.
It's the American dream to get paid to have sex with people. And then go to fucking LA and become big into fucking Hollywood and movies. Some people's American dream.
Yeah, he got started in softcore pornography feature film The Party at Kitty and Studs.
Oh, man.
He was paid $200 for his first 2 days of work.
Oh, man.
It's probably a lot of money back then.
Yeah, he did it because he just got evicted from his apartment and he needed some money. He was homeless for a few days.
Oh, shit.
So,
yeah, $200 probably went far back. It was probably, 70s?
1970 when that happened, so... Hey, do what you got to do.
At least somebody told me something that actually ended up being fucking true, though.
Yeah. All right, so my little thing to you guys. If you're going to pick an all-time favorite movie from the 1980s, doesn't have to be any of the ones you named down. One that's just, you just really, really enjoy it. You got to watch it when you see it. You tell your friends about it. What would it be? And it can be anything.
Aliens.
Return of the Jedi.
It'll be a little different. A movie called Quicksilver.
Why does that sound familiar?
Kevin Bacon. He's a stockbroker who lost it all, becomes a bicycle delivery boy.
I remember that!
It's got Louis Anderson in it.
Yeah.
It's got Lawrence Fishburne in it.
I forgot all about that fucking movie.
Before they were big names. Kevin Bacon was the big name in it. It's just a cute little movie. It's got a good montage scene to it. It's got a good story. It's also got... can't remember his name.
We're having a bad day. I'm blaming it on the weather as to why we can't remember anybody's fucking names tonight.
I can't remember the dude's name, but he's pretty famous Hispanic actor, or he was during the 80s. So give me a second. But yeah, I really recommend everybody watch Quicksilver. It wasn't a super high budget movie or anything.
Yeah, mine was easy because on my list of all movies that I love of all time in my top 5, Aliens is number 1. So that was friggin' easy for me, as I'm sure it was easy for Brad, even though he didn't pick Harrison Ford.
I've seen better movies than Return of the Jedi, but it's just which altered my life so much.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and it's all about how we feel. Like how I don't get the warm and fuzzies for fucking Dirty Dancing. I just don't get I get warm and fuzzies for stupid fucking 80s movies like Mac and Me, which nobody has seen.
Yeah, I didn't know what you were talking about.
And there's a fucking reason for that. They did a dance scene in McDonald's where this little alien kid's wearing a teddy bear costume.
Speaking of McDonald's, man, those Happy Meals were dope when we were kids.
Absolutely, they were.
I saw a picture and I totally forgot. Do you remember when they used to dress up their
chicken nuggets?
Well, no, the Halloween fucking packagings and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, the buckets, and then it was like a fucking, like a jack-o'-lantern, and you took off the lid, and then inside, like the little things of kids' fries look like a ghost or whatever. Man, those were cool.
They don't
McDonald's,
make shit like that
why
anymore.
are you fucking?
Yeah. So the Hispanic actor I'm talking about is Paul Rodriguez. So you'll recognize the face.
Where else do I know him from?
Oh, okay.
So he's been in a lot of stuff. Let's see. Born in East L.A., Made in America.
I remember him from Made in America.
Crocodile Dundee in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
He's Diego. Rat Race. Blood Work. I mean, he's
yeah.
But anyway, this was a really good little movie with Kevin Bacon in it, like Louis Anderson, Lawrence Fishburne, one of their earlier movies.
I totally forgot about Quicksilver.
I just really enjoyed it. I mean, it was a cute little movie. So.
Also, just a little notice. We didn't mention any horror movies because we already did a whole episode about horror movies. It was our first episode, so...
You should check that out, episode 1, guys. So
I just thought it was a little, again, redundant to mention things multiple times because we are more than one note.
So I'll just let you all know, we do plan on doing more 80s themes. We want to do TV shows. We're going to do...
We got toys. We're going to talk about some hunks and some babes. We're going to talk about all that shit. Anything that you remember from the 80s, let us know. Is there any category that you think that we should cover from the 80s? Just stuff that really tickles your personal pickle and just gets you all in fucking gear and ready to remember the 80s. Just, let us know. You can message us always on Instagram and our Facebook page and Twitter at Mouths Potty. Because
Twitter punked you.
I don't know why. Thank you, Twitter. I appreciate that. And, if you want to listen to the first episode or any other episode, we are now officially on Google Play and Spotify, as well as Stitcher, iTunes, and Podbean and the Podbean app. And we have a YouTube channel. Just, let us know what you think. Let us know what your opinions are.
Yeah, shoot us some ideas, too, folks. I mean, we got a bunch of stuff we want to talk about, but, we want to know what the audience wants to hear. We want to grow. Let us know what you want to talk about.
Because right now, it seems to me everybody just wants to hear murder porn. And I'm all about some murder porn, but I watch the ID channel. Don't want to do my podcast on it all the time either.
Yeah, it seems like to be the most popular pods right now.
Oh, yeah, true crime shit,
true
murder
crime.
mystery. Oh, yeah, people eat that shit up, and I love it, too. But how many fucking podcast episodes have everybody heard by now about Gacy and fucking Bundy and stuff? And I like to talk about happy shit, too. Like about how much Dirty Dancing actually wasn't a good fucking movie.
And that's happy shit, folks.
And Aliens.
Jennifer Grey was happy for Brad.
Yes, and how happy Brad is when he saw Dirty Dancing. These are the things that we want to talk about, but we also want to talk about what you want to talk about. So, hook us up. Let us know what's going on. Also, we're going to be creating, eventually, some merch. We've got some stickers in the works. Maybe someday some t-shirts. Give us a screenshot of you rating us where you listen to your podcasts or sharing our personal Instagram page on your page or our Facebook page, whatever. If you share us, we'll hook you up. And, this is Stephanie.
This is Bobcat.
Brad.
Jesus. And we love you guys. Party on. Good night.
Total 90s.